you, you look 200 years old.
Welcome to Last Match Standing, the podcast where we review, relive, and rank the 100 greatest wrestling matches of all time. As always, I'm Spencer.
You deface my belt!
And I'm keeping kayfabe alive.
And today we have, for the first time ever, a 3-hour episode where Paul will be the only one talking.
I don't know. I did take a lot of notes for this match.
Let me tell you guys, we are so excited to talk to you about this match. We'll get to it in just a second. But a couple of things that we did want to talk to you about first. And that is, I want to say a quick congratulations to Colin, who is a Slammy Award winner. How about that?
We knew you could do it. You did such a great job.
Did it all on your own.
He did it all on his own.
All on your own. And now you're a patron.
And it's appreciated, Colin. So thanks so mumuch for that. Congratulations on your Slammy Award. We're super glad to have you. And also, Cedric Von Hausen. We have a champion of Liechtenstein, and that's Timo, who is a true friend.
Man, you know, I really like Timo.
A loyal friend and true. You know, that's what Bob Barker used to say about people. On The Price is Right. A loyal friend and true. Which I think...
Leave it to Spencer to quote Bob Barker on this podcast.
It's exactly the quote you were waiting for.
Well, somebody's got to do it.
Yeah, I think that's high praise. If someone told me I was a loyal friend and true, I don't know if it gets better than that.
Well, I mean, you look a little like Bob Barker.
I dressed up as Bob Barker for Halloween as a child. I would do that now.
Did you do that like for our Halloween party?
Did I? Was I Bob Barker?
I don't remember.
I should have been.
I don't remember that night very well.
I regret it if I don't.
No, I think
you don't remember.
I think you were Simon Dean.
Oh,
Simon System.
Oh, it's great. Actually, Timo at Tark Hacks. That's how I'm going to pronounce it. I'm not sure if that's how he intends it. Sent us messages on Twitter, and he was very kind. So thank you so much for listening, Timo. It's a pleasure. Now to the villain. A couple of things.
We're going to go there?
Yeah, I feel like I have to. Some things I need to address. First thing, he was very useful in this past week. If you remember from the Kurt Angle Chris Benoit episode, there was a cut in the feed.
A very dirty cut, and apparently the information that I found was not accurate information, and I'm very upset about that.
But
this is why we have a corrections corner at the beginning of every episode.
And we stick to it every week, which is why we do it.
Well, we don't get corrected every week.
That's true. But Podcast Hitman was super nice to tell us that the jump cut, because he actually watched his pay-per-view tape from 2003, which sounds awesome. He says the jump cut was because of an advertisement for the WWE Music Anthology, which we all have that, I'm sure.
I do.
I actually do. Yeah.
I have it on my Apple Music,
do.
as a matter of fact.
All 3 discs.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
it's
have that, and then they
good.
keep re-releasing like 2 songs at a time. So they're up to like anthology like number 23.
So thanks, Podcast Hitman, for that. But no thank you for the other thing you had to say. And this was on Twitter. He said, Last Match Cast needs to stop being scared. They're not thinking long-term in their list. Benoit Angle is top 5, and Jericho HBK is top 20.
You know what? Podcast Hitman. Quote the Crippler. No more. I'll see you at March Madness.
Oh, there you go.
We could settle this in the ring, brother.
Well, I thought you were going to like go into a Scott Steiner, like the numbers don't lie. If you look at a normal man, you look at me. I'm a genetic freak, and I ain't normal. If you want to know which promo I'm going to cut whenever I ultimately lose a challenge, there you go.
That'd be a good one.
Chainmail and all.
So we appreciate Podcast Hitman, your opinion. Sorry that you're wrong, but we do appreciate it ultimately. So thanks again for reaching out.
We do think long term. That's why we have to be so harsh on some of these
It's very
matches.
difficult. And actually, today we are doing a match that I am predicting will be the most difficult to rank so far.
We'll see.
Episode 30, I'm just not very confident.
I have no idea where I would put it.
Right. So today,
I don't know. I mean, I watched it about 30 times. I got a decent idea.
it's probably true. Today we are coming. This is actually our oldest match yet.
Yes, oldest by, I think, the oldest match we've even put on the list.
Yeah, this
so
is
far.
41 years old, which is wild, right? July 26th, 1978, on World of Sport, ITV, from England somewhere. I don't know. Somewhere.
Yeah,
from England.
I didn't catch where it was from.
Yeah.
Oh God, I want to say they're in Manchester.
I know Manchester. That's where
Rocco's
from. I don't know if they're there.
Well, and the fact that they had such a storied rivalry, they wrestled in so many different places.
Right. Yeah.
Who knows where this particular location? If you do know where, what was the date?
This was July 26th, 1978.
Yeah, I mean, we all like individually looked up stuff. It was really hard to find a lot of like the background on this. It was just kind of like if you look up the match, you get an article that was written in like 2004. William Regal on Twitter and Instagram saying, "Go watch this match. It's one of the greatest of all time."
Yeah.
Or 3 separate YouTube videos because I could not find the match in its entirety. It's not a very long match. It's just split up into 2 10-minute videos and like a 5-minute video.
So what we have for you today is the British light heavyweight champion, Marty Jones, versus the British heavy middleweight champion, Rollerball Rocco. Paul, let me ask you this question.
Yes.
Just the first off, what makes you so excited about covering this match?
Because it's fucking awesome. I mean, if you would have told me that when we started this podcast that the fastest pace of any match we saw was from 41 years ago, I would have laughed at you.
I'd call you a fucking liar.
Right. But let me tell you, one time earlier in this podcast, I referenced the match, and I think it was Ray and Eddie. I referenced saying that it feels like this match is in fast forward. This match feels like it's in fast forward.
It really does. It does not slow down.
No.
There's pace changes because there have to be in good wrestling matches.
Yeah.
And this is, make no mistake, a fantastic wrestling match. But it never slows down.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, I think a large part of that has to do with the way the rules are set up for the match. And so I want to tell you what those were. It's a 40-minute time limit, ultimately. But as the commentator says, which, by the way, was a real treat, and for the first time on this podcast, on a match that had commentary, I cannot find this man's name.
No, I couldn't find him either.
I am so disappointed in myself. And I quote him several times.
I couldn't find him.
I have no idea. He is a real treat, though, so totally enjoyed him on commentary by himself, but I have no idea who he is.
I'm pretty sure if we go on Twitter and ask somebody
Someone knows.
who either is from the UK or used to watch World of Sport, go, oh, his name is Greg Jones. He's from wherever. He's from Ludwig. He's a good. You know what I mean? Like somebody will probably tell us. But I looked. You looked. Did you look, Landon?
I tried to find it.
We couldn't find it.
Right.
But hey, before we get too far into it,
Yeah.
a huge thanks to @FrankieMon for recommending this match to us. Actually recommended it a while back.
From the very beginning.
Yeah, it's been a minute. We were trying to find the right time to watch it, and I think last week I said, "Fuck it, let's just do the."
We've waited long enough.
Well, like I remember watching this like back in like August and going, "Oh my god, guys, we got to review this match."
Yeah.
But we never knew what to put it in a poll against, and I think we threw it out there twice. And I think both times it didn't get any votes.
Yeah, well, it's just not the kind of match. Well, people, I don't think, are super aware of it.
Yeah. Also,
generally.
we put like Jones versus Rocco WOS, and people are like, "What the fuck is that?" And I'm like,
I don't watch it.
"It's
boss.
typing out World of Sport and then the date and then Marty Jones Rollerball Rocco. That's not going to fit on Twitter."
Well, listen, the problem is with these Twitter polls, and I will totally admit this, is that you get very little text for those,
Yeah, they'll give you
those options.
You got 240 characters, and we're putting like sometimes up to 5 matches on
Yeah,
there.
let me tell you, if you looked at this most recent poll that we had, that had like Dean Malenko, Rey Mysterio, and a couple of others, I got real creative with how I listed these matches.
We saw that.
Because it was tough to figure it out. on the Twitter poll.
HH96 WCW.
Yeah, you saw that.
and you had to put a 4-woman
Tag team match.
Oh, I love it. You
yeah.
put the bottom, you put in parentheses. That's what this match is. Because I was like, what?
No idea. Right.
It's like Aja and Coke. What?
Yeah, there was no way to fit it on there. Anyway, so the commentator is wonderful. Well, whoever he is, sir, you're fantastic. But the way the rules for this match go down is it's in 8 rounds of 5 minutes apiece, and 2 falls, 2 submissions, or a KO is needed to decide this match. And the commentator shortened it, saying 8 5s, 2 to decide.
Yeah, when he wrote that, like, I wrote that down, like, what? And then I'm like, oh, okay, got it.
Yeah, 8 5s, 2 to decide.
I love that.
But I love it. It's great. It turns out this match, there's 30-second intervals in between rounds. This match, if you go just from bell to bell, is 18 minutes and 43 seconds. If you include the intermissions, it's about 25 minutes overall. But 18:43, not long, but it's a fast 18:43 because they are in those 5-minute increments. And I think that speaks to the pace of the match for sure.
And it's a catchweight bout, which was interesting because you have they're both champions in different weight divisions. And so they called it a catchweight fight because they have a 12-pound difference between the two. Mm-hmm. Marty Jones. Let's talk about Marty Jones real quick.
Let's talk about Marty Jones.
Did you know Marty Jones? Probably not, right? Did you know Marty Jones is the man responsible for training William Regal?
I did know this.
Marty Jones, you, sir, deserve all the credit. William Regal is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time.
Seriously.
I mean, come on. That's super. Love
So
that
Jones got into wrestling because he was being bullied. And, he should be the face of the Be a Star campaign, dude. Marty Jones' dad said, you know what, enough with this. I'm taking you to the gym, and you're going to learn how to stick up for yourself. So at the age of 6, Six.
I am immediately spotting a difference between his father and mine.
Well, at 6, my dad taught me how to play baseball, not go to the gym.
At the age of 6, Marty Jones' dad started training him at the gym. And this gym, it was his dad's buddy's gym, who, just by the way, just so happened to be Billy Robinson, the extremely talented and renowned shoot wrestler. There's actually a TV documentary from the 60s called The Wrestlers that shows footage of a young Marty Jones being trained by Robinson.
That's fascinating.
So from then on, obviously, Marty dreamed of becoming a pro wrestler. He trained in that gym until he was 17 and quickly found success as an amateur wrestler. And Marty made his pro wrestling debut in 1972, quickly earning the attention of ITV's World of Sport promotion, in which so World of Sport was the TV show.
Yes.
And so I think, and we kind of talked
Trying
about
to
this
get this
a little bit,
straight.
trying to get this straight. We might need someone to tell us what the truth is here, but we think this match is from Joint Promotions. Like that, I think that's the name of the actual promotion.
I
is
think
Joint
so,
Promotions.
but like for instance, like I said before, like this thing was split into 3 different videos. This thing literally starts with the bell ringing and the announcements.
Yeah.
There is no
Right.
build, and we just get the the commentator just giving us the very, very quick rundown. And the video cuts off literally a minute after the match ends.
But regardless, Jones wins his first singles championship on the 12th of November in 76 when he defeated Rollerball Mark Rocco for the British Light Heavyweight Championship, which is an extremely prestigious belt with a long history in British wrestling, dealing all the way back to the 20s. The belt is actually currently held by Dean Allmark, who has been the champion since, get this, 2014. 2,000 plus day reign for Dean Allmark. But
eat your heart out, San Martino.
Which is almost as long as Triple H.
that being said, I'm not sure if it's one of those belts that's like belongs to a promotion. I don't know what the story is. If you have more information about the British Light Heavyweight Championship in its current form or about Dean Allmark's career, let us know, because we'd be really interested to see how this prestigious belt is being defended over in the UK right now.
World of Sport is a thing again. Like it's a real, it's a promotion
right
now. So interesting. Yeah, I definitely would like to know more information for sure.
But this victory sparked a long and storied rivalry between Rollerball Rocco and Marty Jones. And it's one that kind of encapsulates British wrestling and that time. It's like everyone remembers these two going at it in this time period. And so it's really interesting to me that they had these weight divisions, right? We talked about how one of these folks is the heavy middleweight champion and one of them is the light heavyweight champion. And so British wrestling did have these weight divisions. And we actually talked about this in a previous episode, how British wrestling, particularly British wrestling in this time period, did so much to keep kayfabe alive.
Yes, they did.
Right. And, when I explained the rules of the match, it made me feel kind of like how we talked about with New Japan, how it's treated more like a legitimate sport. And this has legitimacy written all over it.
Well, to your credit, the reason why it's presented with a round system or with very strict weight classes is because that's how legitimate sports work.
Right.
That's how boxing works. Mm-hmm. That's how MMA works. At the time, we didn't really have that, but that's how any type of wrestling competition that wasn't like a work would go. You'd have very, very strict weight classes. There'd be very, very strict rules, and there would always be rounds. It would not just be go wrestle for 30 minutes. No. You're going to wrestle for 3.5 minutes, then take a 30-second break. Then you're going to wrestle for another 3.5 minutes and on until somebody gets the better of the other person. And that's just how it works. Honestly, I think we should go back to the system.
I really like it.
It works. You can have these clinics and then take a breather.
Well, very recently, there was a British rounds match on an episode of NXT UK. It was Cassius Ohno was actually involved in the British rounds match. And, for the life of me, I can't remember who it was that he was against. It was Sid Scala, I think is who it was, and Cassius Ohno. And they did a British rounds match on NXT UK.
That is very
Something tells me that Triple H going, you know what? Let's just see if people like this. Oh, shit, they like it. Let's turn all of NXT UK into this. And I guarantee you, in a year, it'll be the most popular show they have.
I don't know if I'd want to see every single match that way, but I'd like to see more of it.
That's my thing. Is I don't know if this needs to be the standard, but I do appreciate it, and I do think that there's definitely a spot for it now.
I agree.
I completely agree.
Well, if you went something like that, but then you still had your gimmick matches, like, this is a non-sanctioned match. It's going to have let's say a 30-minute time limit. Like the referee is just there to count a fall. This is not sanctioned by us, but that's the reason why this match will just have you have a hardcore match. Mm-hmm. There's there's no rules, so there's no reason to have rounds. But when it's just a regular match, you have 3 rounds with a 20-minute time limit. Why can't we do that?
I'm down.
Yeah,
I really like it.
I get it.
I think it would work, and I think
it would kind of solve the issue where these commercial break cuts seem so forced. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? If we had rounds, then you have built-in commercial breaks.
Well, it's kind of like, you think about, WWE within the last year went through that 2 out of 3 falls match phase.
Right.
And it was with this idea in mind, is that, it's after a fall, it's very easy to say, okay, we'll be right back for the next fall.
Yeah, let's say they don't take a minute break. I mean, I know that you can't really get an ad out. Okay.
Well, you say that, but now we're in this mode in time in television where they do split screen all the time, or the commercials on half the screen while you're still viewing.
or they did an AEW and then they start doing cue cards and get thrown off the air.
So we talked about
Spanish fly.
We talked about Marty Jones.
I do want to add one more thing to Marty Jones. Were you about to go to Rollerball?
I was.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I just want to say, and this is probably the best known fact about Marty Jones, and I think when people think Marty Jones, this is the fact that they usually think of, and I can't believe you didn't mention it. And that's the fact that his birthday is December 13th, which is the same birthday as Taylor Swift.
Oh, how could I have forgotten?
Did you know that?
Why would I have looked that up?
How did I not know?
That's what everyone thinks. And I just wanted to make sure.
I was like, oh, yeah, his birthday is December 13th, which, as you know, was the very first day the world of sport was founded, 20 years earlier. Because, I did my maths promo during the Chris Jericho and Shawn Michaels. I thought you were going to start throwing math at us.
I should
I'm like, damn it, I need to get a better gimmick with these numbers.
Spencer, would you like to take this opportunity to plug your Taylor Swift Twitter account?
Oh, yeah, you can follow me at Hunting Swiftly 25 on
God.
Twitter.
This is not a joke.
Hey, I'm going to write this down.
I mean, listen, this is the 30th episode, and I'm surprised that we didn't fall into the trap of doing the Vicky Guerrero Diva Invitational at WrestleMania 30. We really should have.
Why did we not do that?
We were there.
We were there. I didn't go to the bathroom because I was still trying to figure out what the hell just happened.
Yeah, you and everybody else.
I really think if we go back to Mania, we have to just wear diapers or get catheters because
that's how long it is.
It's like 8 hours of wrestling is just too much.
Which is a good thing because this is so concise. This Marty Jones Rollerball Rocco match. Tell us about Rollerball, if you would, please, Landon.
Yeah, we talked about Marty Jones for just a little bit. Let's talk about Rollerball Rocco,
A.K.A. Black Tiger.
a.k.a. Mark Hussey. Mark Hussey. Mark Hussey's his real name.
Oh, that's a terrible
because
name.
his dad was jumping Jim Hussey.
That's right. Mark Hussey did grow up in his father's gym. People say he grew up in his father's gym. How much do you have to be at the gym to grow up in a gym?
Well, my father was like a football coach. I pretty much grew up on the sidelines.
See? Yeah.
There you go. But essentially, he grew up around wrestling. He grew up around wrestlers training in a gym. And although his father was extremely opposed to him being a professional wrestler, going so far as to have his son banned from his gym, Rocco would still receive lessons from the other wrestlers while his father was out on tour.
Wow.
I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
Rebel without a cause.
You can't take the dream out of the kid. Can't do it.
Similar to Marty Jones, though, Hussey excelled as an amateur wrestler in his teens and quickly gained notoriety in the British pro wrestling scene. It's interesting to see that these two had extremely, seemingly parallel careers up to this point.
Oh, it shows in this match. It really does.
I mean, adopting the name Rollerball, Mark Rocco is widely credited as being one of the key innovators of the faster-paced, high-flying style, which has become sort of a trademark of the light heavyweights divisions throughout the world. And it wasn't long before Rocco caught the gaze of New Japan, and he was recruited to play a perfect counterpart to New Japan's junior heavyweight star Tiger Mask, as Paul alluded to, wrestling under the name Black Tiger. Rocco and Tiger Mask's matches were some of the highest rated in Japanese television history, and their rivalry left such a legacy, such a mark on those characters and those masks that several wrestlers have carried the roles of Tiger Mask and Black Tiger ever since, and we still have someone who's playing Tiger Mask right now. It's been well documented that Rollerball Rocco and Marty Jones legitimately hated each other back in the day.
I mean, listen,
I'm not surprised by that.
with watching this match, you know what I thought? I was like, man, this is totally the British version of Tully Blanchard.
Yeah.
Oh, minus the bloodshed.
and TA, this was it.
Well, I mean, it leads to two guys who are known to be elite amateur shoot wrestlers squaring up in the ring for some stiff matches.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to mention this when we started talking about the match, but like I'm not surprised Japan loves Rocco.
There you go.
Because like, holy shit, the way he works these holds and like the fucking knee strikes he throws, like he's trying to kill somebody.
Well, and you think about how much they love Dynamite. There you go.
I mean,
right? That's his name of the game.
This guy's pre-Dynamite, so he would have been like one of the people that Dynamite probably looked up to.
They've so they have shared in interviews, both of them, that when they were competing, they would try not to give each other an inch. They wouldn't give anything.
Well, they don't give shit in this match.
So,
You're so right.
and it leads to really memorable bouts, right? But it leads to even more stitches.
Oh, it really does. But there's several moments where like they'll grab a hold and you'll see the one slap the mat. He slapped the mat. He's like, "Son of a bitch, he got me." Like you can see there's a point. There is a beautiful point where Rocco does like a cravat like suplex, and then Marty just smashes that ring and tries to roll out of it. Like, no, he will not let him roll out of it.
Well, Jones recalls
that was real.
Jones recalls one injury he sustained during a match with Rocco, that he was going into a crotch first bump into the turnbuckle, which why would you ever volunteer to take that? Well, I guess if they're shooting, you're not really volunteering.
Yeah.
But he's going cross first into the turnbuckle, and something was poking out of the turnbuckle. So this results in a hospital visit.
Oh, my.
In the hospital, sitting right on the other side of the curtain, was Rollerball Rocco, getting stitches in his head. Both of them still in their ring gear from the match that they had together earlier that day. This is just that. If that doesn't tell the story of these guys, I mean, they would do absolutely anything to get the job done in the ring and to one up each other. Mm-hmm. And that's what true competition is, and it bleeds through into the story that they're telling in the ring.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's such a fun rivalry. and one that during the late 70s was one that they visited repeatedly. And actually, this match is a rematch of a match just a couple weeks earlier. And because the commentator says, and I hate that I have to call him the commentator, but he says,
Let's give him a name. What's his name? His name is Giles.
No, that's too British.
Okay, how about Brad?
That's not British enough. Maybe Bradley.
Bradley.
Ian.
Ian Bradley.
Ian Bradley.
Ian Bradley.
That's a very.
That's somebody.
Ian Bradley's a
Ian
person
Bradley?
right now. If you're listening to the show, Ian Bradley.
I feel like I know somebody.
Right? There's somebody famous called Ian Bradley. We're just not thinking
Yeah.
of.
Okay, so Ian Bradley says, he says that this is a rematch of an abandoned match that finished outside the ring weeks ago on a Saturday afternoon, as he put it, which I thought was lovely. So these are two guys that are very, very familiar with each other, and they continue to be familiar with each other. But Paul, would you mind getting us set as Ian Bradley?
Okay. This match, 8 rounds, 2 out of 3 falls. First man to win 2 pinfalls, 2 submissions will be the winner. Red corner, Mark Rollerball Rocco in the red and blue singlet. White stars on the trousers and the mustache. The blue corner, Marty Jones in the red trunks. Marty Jones is the light heavyweight title holder. Rollerball Rocco, the heavy middleweight title. This is a rematch these two gentlemen had last Saturday, which was an abandoned match. Referee Max Ward will be the official. We'll get this match. Both of these men are champions, but neither title will be on the line. How's that?
That was thank you. I think I can't stop laughing. It's so good.
I mean, that's how the guy. That's how he calls his match, and I thought I would be bored by it, but I was not
I
bored by it
loved
at
it.
all.
Did you love it?
I actually would love the isolated audio of just
Yes.
his voice.
You know that I've seen it all over the place. Ian Bradley, the GOAT of British wrestling.
The GOAT.
Yeah.
Well, you know what it is. He's not a TV personality. He's not trying to get himself over as a brand.
Yeah.
He's just there
He's
to
just
call the
calling
match.
the action.
That's why it works.
Right. And to your point, Max Ward is the referee. And in case you weren't sure, he's got his name in red letters on the back of his referee shirt. So there you go.
Just in case you're wondering.
And if you are hearing the match, you hear one of 3 things. You either hear commentary from Ian Bradley, you hear Rocco screaming, or
It's a lot of screaming.
Or you hear Ward.
you hear Ward counting to 10.
Oh, his 10
do
counts.
you?
1, 2, 3, and he always stomps every time.
It's the fucking best.
It's so good.
I want to see him and Nick Patrick be like the 2 officials. Go, what are you doing? You gotta count 1. No, what are you doing? You gotta count 1. I want these 2 to shove each other.
The battle of the grunty refs.
Oh,
Okay,
it is a guttural
No.
sound.
So remember, in Invasion 2001, we had Nick Patrick versus Earl Hebner.
I remember that.
I want Max Ford versus Nick Patrick.
Yes. Book it. No. Man.
Book that shit. So many grunts.
Oh, gosh. Okay, so there's the stage. It is set for you in 1978. And if you're thinking that it's going to be slow and a bunch of rest holds, you would be wrong. Round 1 starts, and it is stiff.
This shit is real.
Yeah, round 1, sort of, for me, it felt very much like a feeling out process, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you've got the ref, Ward, with the hysterical animated counting. You've got the high-angle camera shot.
Oh, I
Did y'all
love
I
notice
that.
loved it so much.
I kind of like it.
I did too.
It's very different. You don't see that angle on the camera anymore.
No.
I guess maybe if you've got one of the long camera arms coming out from the side,
Yeah, you'll
doing
get
a
that,
wide
but
shot.
like the way the hard camera is set up on most wrestling shows, it's like straight on.
Right.
I like that overhead because you don't get like there's never any type of like anything that disrupts your line of sight. You can just see the entire ring at any time. And I like how it does move. It's not a stationary camera as well.
Yeah, it's not like a bird's eye view or anything like that. It's still at an angle, but it's to the point where the ropes on the bottom side like don't cover up what's going on in the ring.
They'll never obstruct your view of the match.
Right. Jones right off the bat lasers in on that arm.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And but you had to think like Jones is both of these guys are amateur wrestlers.
Oh, yeah.
They have a plan, and Jones goes in with because you got to think he is got to be the favorite, right? He's 12 pounds heavier. He's the one who has, I guess, less to prove than Rollerball Rocco.
I think
into
so.
this. And so, but he's smart. He goes in on that arm because. How do you take down the guy who's going to be flying all over you? This is the lightweight guy.
And to your point, Ian Bradley says generally the crowd goes for the lighter man. Not today,
Right?
Oh no.
Rocco's clearly the heel, right?
That mustache.
It is the mustache, isn't it?
Tom Selleck, eat your heart out. But I just gotta say, just holy shit, that pace. I know we've said it a couple times, but the pace they cut. It's ridiculous because I was expecting this to be a much slower match. Oh, it's people just like it's an older British. Like I watched them like, oh no, this would get that reaction today. I think
so.
Yeah. You mentioned working on the arm. Jones hits this like arm suplex.
Oh yeah, like arm trap suplex. Like when it's like arm trap suplex by Jones, but no pinfall.
It was super. I mean, it was really really good. Rocco flies all over this ring.
Oh yeah, he does. Oh man, like. Rocco goes to that cravat suplex. It is so beautiful. Every time I see it, I'm just like, God. And I tell you, Jones is not jumping for him. That is just he's muscling him over because you get the and then that slam down, and then he immediately goes right into like a hammerlock, and then converts into like the Fujiwara arm bars. And I'm like, what are we watching?
Yeah, and they're flying across the ring. And I do think that maybe this is a 14 by 14. It's a little bit smaller than your typical.
Maybe not 14, but it's definitely no bigger than a 16-footer.
Yeah.
Because like it's like 2 steps and they're hitting the ropes.
Yeah. And so to that point, round 1 ends with Rocco tossing Jones into the corner. And it's almost as if he's just like, you know what? I'm going to assert my dominance here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And he tosses him all halfway across the room.
He does.
And those turnbuckles, because they throw each other into the turnbuckles kind of repeatedly throughout this match. And it's hard.
Oh, yeah, they have the flat pad. They do not have like the turnbuckle covers. It's just like the boxing pad, and those things don't do much.
No, you hear it, and you can see that ring shake when they hit the corner.
Oh,
and it's tough. But that's how round 1 ends, and it's over before you know it. I mean, it's just because that's the pace that these guys are holding.
Yeah, they don't stop.
No, they don't stop. So that 5 minutes when that bell rang, I was like, "Are we what?"
And what I love is like when they go to the corner, like Rocco doesn't sit in the corner. He takes a swig of water, spits it back into the ring. It's like, let's go. Like he doesn't even take a breather. He's ready to go.
Yeah, round 2 starts and Rocco goes right back on the aggressive.
Oh, yeah.
Just strikes to the head.
Crazy.
On Marty Jones.
Starts,
Absolutely.
like, kicking him in the face.
And those quick inside arm drags from Marty Jones.
Oh,
as
gosh,
Dancer.
sign me
Those are
up.
Japanese arm drags.
They're beautiful.
They are, and Rocco just sells it. I mean, there's not I mean, it feels like this match there's not a ton of like selling.
I mean, there is,
But the way Rocco takes these arm drags is just it's a work of art.
it's just like I said before. It does not surprise me that Japan loves these guys.
If round 1 was a feeling out process, round 2 was waking the crowd up.
Oh,
And
yeah.
boy, were they ready for it. This crowd, man. Listen, I have no idea what kind of arena this was in. I have no idea how many people were there. All I know is they were happy with what they were watching.
Oh yeah, and just the way that Rocco controls these holds, how hard he hits Jones, and like when he throws him into the corner, I'm like, this is strong style. Yeah, but this is in the UK about 10 years before strong style was really a thing.
British strong
and
style.
and I'm like, once again, there's a reason why this man got over in Japan like he did, especially wearing a mask and refusing to admit who he is. Like that does not shock me. Before I could finish that statement, we get a fucking sunset flip.
Yeah, the sunset flip is gorgeous. But
Like, what?
It comes after Jones, this incredible sequence. Jones hits a shoulder tackle. Rocco responds by doing a kip up, like he just kips up, and then Jones is ready for another arm drag the second he kips back up. And it's just speaking to how well these guys mesh. And then you do get the sunset flip, right, from Marty Jones. And like I didn't see that coming at all, but he goes for it. there's actually an interesting bit with Rocco kind of playing the heelish character is that his strikes are a little low. And the commentator kind of makes note of it, like, referee doesn't really like that. It is getting kind of low, like he needs to be careful. And that happens a couple times throughout the match.
Yeah, like he gets his first public warning in like the third round.
Yeah. But the second round ends kind of after a missed drop kick from Rocco, and on their way back to their corners at the end of round 2.
Rocco takes a cheap shot.
Yeah, he takes a cheap shot.
And he gets his first warning.
Yeah.
I'm like, you fucker.
So 30-second intervals. It's happening very, very quickly. So now the match has only been on for 10 minutes. We're already into round 3. No falls yet. And Rocco starts round 3 with a full Nelson. On Marty Jones.
He does a fucking a high angle monkey flip. The fucking air on this thing.
Oh, Ian Bradley was calling them monkey climbs, by the way, throughout the
flip.
match. Anyway, so he does the monkey flip. Rocco flies all the way across the ring.
Turned inside out.
Yeah, but it's actually a quick third round. It's only about 1 minute and 20 seconds because Rocco hits like a body slam, like a high angle body slam.
He picks him up and throws him down hard. Like there was some like force behind that, and then he fucking pins him.
And that's it. That's the first fall, just like that, in 1 minute and 20 seconds.
Did you notice in round 3, a little bit earlier, Jones goes for a double inside leg trap pin attempt?
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't see those kinds of pins in your everyday wrestling match. It was beautiful. It was a thing of beauty. I mean, Rocco was right there to grab the rope.
Yeah. But
it was really fun to see the attempt.
Yeah.
And yeah, that scoop slam immediately followed up by dropping the knees. I was very impressed at how fluid that motion was. He literally just drops his legs over the shoulders of Marty Jones to capture the first fall of the contest.
Oh yeah, like immediately. One fluid motion, just slam, knees down, pin. I'm like, ting. I'm like, shit. Okay, let's go.
It was a very convincing pinfall. It's like, how would you kick out of that?
You can't. He's like, all his weight is on your shoulders.
So Rocco takes the advantage after round 3. And he's excited about it. And Marty Jones needs some time to recover. So we don't get, it's a little longer than 30 seconds for this break. Because,
I think they get a minute.
Yeah, close to
fall.
That. Because Jones needs a little bit more time to kind of get it back together. But round 4, once it kicks off, is very, very quick. Jones throws Rocco into the turnbuckle, which
turns
is, again,
inside
stiff
out.
as can be.
Oh.
Yeah, he does sort of the Shawn Michaels flip into the
oh yeah, and
turnbuckle.
It's like, dude, don't do that in that turnbuckle.
No,
oh.
Yeah, and because he almost lands on his head when he comes
yes,
back down.
Yes, he does.
And then they have a sequence of where they trade these back body drops.
Oh man, so we get a big back body drop by Marty Jones. And then he does like a fucking fireman carry version over the side.
He does.
Yeah, like even higher angle. So like a big back body drop and a bigger fireman carry drop. I was like, oh, and then Jones was a fucking flying crossbody.
Yeah, he just comes off the ropes, dives as you know, in the air and fast as he can,
hits him
on top of Rocco and gets the pin.
Gets a pin. I'm like, oh shit, here we go. We got a tie game.
It was extremely fast paced. He went into round 4 knowing that he was one down and he had to do something drastic. And God, he did.
He just does this massive flurry. I'm like, here we go. All right, another minute, and then here we go. Round 5, and I noticed something. Round 5, one of the very first things that happens is Jones puts Rocco on his shoulders, throws him off, and then knees him in the chest. I'm like, did he just do the fucking GTS?
It was close to it. It was definitely it looked like a gut buster.
He had him up, and then he threw him off, and then kneed him like in the chest. I'm like, you're like a couple of inches away from inventing Kenta's move 30 years before he did.
Yeah, it was really cool. It's just stuff, this high impact stuff that you don't expect to see in 1978, right? That Rocco is and Jones are kind of trading these forearms in the second half of this match because it's getting intense. And what's interesting is Rocco forearms Marty Jones while Jones is on the apron, so it knocks him off the apron,
throws him off
out of the ring.
He gets another warning for that.
And what's interesting is Jones on his way back into the ring is getting talked to by a fan, and Ian Bradley, which is definitely his name, says Jones getting a little advice from a customer. And I just thought, man, when's the last time anybody referred to a fan at a wrestling match as a customer?
Technically, they are.
1978.
They are. Yeah, they absolutely are. It's so kind of it just kind of reminded me where I like what time period I was in, but I loved it a lot.
I don't know.
thought
It makes me want to go back and rewatch WrestleMania 3. 93,000 customers in the Silver Dome.
Jones, once he gets back onto the apron, he delivers a forearm to Rocco to push him away from the apron. And then he gets on the top turnbuckle and hits
Missile drop kick that is one of the stiffest missile drop kicks I've ever seen. And Rocco just flies all the way across the ring, out of the ring, I think. And this is when Ian Bradley says, this is turning out to be one tremendous wrestling contest.
It's a thing of beauty. And I noticed in round 5, we're 1-1, which means it's sort of going down to a sudden death situation. And there's a change of pace. We do have these moments where they're sliding outside. Rocco goes outside to kind of catch a breather.
He takes a powder.
And meanwhile, you've got Jones kind of having these diving drop kicks. So you have round 5 is whenever the pace starts to become sort of a roller coaster.
Well, I think both men are like in kayfabe. They're both like, okay, I have to put him away. We only have 2 rounds left.
Right.
We're tied.
It's
I
desperation
gotta pull
mode.
stuff out. And oh my God. So we talked about Rocco being turned inside out, but now Jones gets turned inside out. Ooh, that throw. He knocked the freaking pad off when he hit it.
Yeah, the arm ringer. He does an arm ringer and then just tosses him literally halfway across the ring.
Yeah, and then the freaking turnbuckle pad comes off
It
when
does.
he hits it.
It does.
I'm like, Jesus Christ, gentlemen, please.
I'll tell you one thing. I've been really impressed with Ward as a referee
Oh,
for this
for sure.
match. He has the best eyes in the business because he always tends to catch someone's foot being on the rope before they even hook the leg for a pin. It's
He's like, nope.
Yep, he doesn't even start counting. Like typically the way the spot works is the person falls down near the ropes, their opponent goes for the pin, and it's a 1-2, and then they get the foot on the ropes. That's not the way this happens.
No,
at all.
not at all.
Nope.
Well, because Marty Jones hits this backdrop, this beautiful backdrop, goes for a cover.
Ooh.
And I was thinking like, oh, shit, that might be it. But Rocco grabs the ropes. And you're right, Ward is on it like that. I mean, it's super quick.
Doesn't even count to 1.
No, I'm not wasting my time.
But with that being said, I did notice that Ward doesn't slam the mat to count.
No, he
No.
does not.
He counts with his 1, 2, 3. It's just like that.
Well, that's how they do it in collegiate. Only in collegiate, it is just like, got it. But he's like, shoulder, that's it, pin.
Right.
So it feels more like a sport and less like a big dramatic set piece. And I'm like, I kind of prefer that, actually.
I didn't hate it.
I don't prefer it, but
takes-
I don't mind it.
It takes something away as far as the drama of the ref going down and hitting the mat. It takes some drama away, but I didn't hate it, and I agree with Paul because it did make it feel a little bit more sporty.
It feels like more like a sport.
I get that, but at the same time, if you're thinking about a ref hitting a mat, I think it's a lot more clear for the audience to tell what's happening.
It's very
And
much
there's
that.
a lot less leeway as far as
True.
Is it a 3 count or not?
So
I
that's
think
sort
that's
of
important.
That sort of makes you think about maybe there weren't a whole lot of people in that room at
No,
the time.
I think there's probably less than 200 people in there.
So maybe they didn't have to worry so much about the big motions if
Yeah.
there's not as many people. But if you're in a huge arena with thousands of folks, you've got to have a mat slamming. You've got to have the referee slamming down on the mat.
I think you could probably get away with him just going like 1, 2, like that. Maybe, I don't know. There's way. That's a different conversation to have at a different time. But
Yeah, I mean, I get it. What I thought was really interesting is every now and then, because his pace is really quick, but every now and then they would still get back to the mat and throw an armbar on there, throw a sleeper of some kind, or a chin lock or a headlock. And the commentator, who we've named Bradley, points out that they're rest holds. He says that. He's like, looks like Jones needs a rest, so he's got him in this lock. And I think that's very interesting.
Yeah, but they don't stay in those locks very long.
They don't, but
and
I think
they're not
it's-
talking. So
But I think that it adds. Yeah, and I don't think it's a rest hold in the way that we talk about him in the rest of our matches.
it's not
where,
let's take 3 minutes and go.
where we're trying to plan what's happening.
Here's the next 3 spots.
But I think the way they describe it is like a sort of a second to regroup and a reset, and it's like a strategy instead of a cop out.
How genius.
Yeah, I think it's really, really neat, and I like it a lot that he pointed it out. I really thought that was great.
It's great commentary.
Yeah, it is. Rocco tosses Jones out of the ring. That's when he gets his public
He throws him
warning.
over the top rope.
Yeah, out of the ring.
No, you can't do that.
Yeah, and that's not a thing. So he gets a warning. Marty Jones comes back in and gets a public warning of his own, and that's kind of how round 5 ends. So again, we're tied at 1. We go into round 6. And Rocco is going for these pinfalls and
Rapid pinfall attempts.
Yeah, and the commentator's quick to point out that he's got no chance from there. Those pinfalls don't have a chance because he's not doing anything. But Jones hits this drop kick.
Beautiful drop kick.
I loved the missile drop kick from earlier, but this drop kick in the middle of the ring, I mean,
this would make Bob Holly blush. Go, whoa.
Yeah.
Picture perfect.
Picture perfect. Jones ends up missing a second attempt
it goes
at a
to the
drop
well
kick.
one too many times.
And it cost him. Because the same way that Rocco got his first pinfall, he gets it again with that body slam into the pin cover afterwards.
Yeah, but Jones, he misses, gets in the ropes, hurts the knee.
Yep.
Rocco immediately, another big, I'm talking fucking high ankle scoop slam, pin, bam, gets up immediately on the mic. I think now I should get a title shot for your belt. I've beaten you twice. I'll beat you a third time for your belt. And then Jones immediately breaks the belt.
Jones
He
says
kicks it and breaks the plate off.
it's that's exactly what happens, and it's really, really funny because I will say that we've done 30 matches, and I've watched a lot of wrestling in my life, but I did not realize that in July of 1978 I was going to get the greatest insult in professional wrestling history in this moment, because Rocco says to Marty Jones, "This belt is 200 years old. When I'm finished with you, you'll look 200 years old."
It's like, you're going to face my belt. It's like, and I love how he says, you get down to my weight, I'll put my belt on the line if you put your belt on the line.
Yeah, they're so
Winner take all.
Yeah, so they have a double championship match in 1978.
Yeah, after this, which is
Years before WrestleMania 6.
yeah, years and years before it. And Rocco says, "You disgrace my belt," like you said.
Yeah, it's
and-
like, this will
and
cost
this
you
will cost
in
you
blood.
in blood.
I'm like, holy shit.
It's super.
Is
It's
this ECW?
that last 2 minutes after the bell just speaks to the rivalry these two guys
man.
have, and it's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. But Rocco gets the victory. He beats Jones 2-1, and in the 6th round. So there you go. Fast paced. It certainly didn't feel like 18 plus minutes or 25.
Oh, no, it did not.
It was just a whole hell of a lot of fun.
What a match.
Huge. I mean, incredible.
Favorite moments.
Oh, dear Lord.
I'm gonna go drop kicks from Marty Jones.
I feel like I mentioned all my favorite moments already.
I'm going drop kicks from Marty Jones.
I
Absolutely.
can't get over the cover the pinfall from Rocco. The knees over the shoulders. The one fluid motion of the power slam and sliding right into the shins covering the shoulders. I've never seen anything like it, and I don't
Me
know why
neither.
people don't do it more, because how do you kick out of that?
You can't. You're not kicking out of that. Oh, God. Well, guys, here it comes.
That's the end of the episode. We'll see you guys
All right,
later.
guys. Catch
Take
you on
care
episode,
now. Bye-bye
episode
then.
31 next week.
We have to rank it.
All right, here
don't we?
comes fun part.
We have to rank it, don't we? Oh, boy.
Oof. This is
I don't even
funny.
know. Who wants to go first here?
This is like the 3rd clinic in a row we've done. But this is a very different clinic from the last 2 clinics we reviewed.
Yeah, so as a recap, the last 2 weeks on the show here, we've ranked both matches at 15. So I'm going to say this is going to be 15, and I'll move on.
Okay, that works for me. All right, well, thanks for listening.
Hang on. Let's talk about this. You mentioned 15. I was like, oh, you know what? I was actually thinking more like 18.
Okay, so that's kind of where you're thinking, like after Angle, Undertaker, but above
Good.
Edge
My
and Foley?
point being is I can already hear people going, what the fuck? Like, hang on. My reasoning being here. If you look from 15 through 17, those 3 matches are 3 fucking clinics.
Yeah.
Like, okay, these are pure wrestling storytelling clinics. And I feel that's what this is. The main thing this one has superior to those 3 is the pacing. My only complaint about it is, since it's such an older match, there aren't really any really big high spots, or what they're calling high spots. We're calling scoop slams and top rope drop kick. Those are high spots because it's 1978. So that's more of a nitpick. But at the same time, if this match happened, or any of those matches happened back then, they would be revered in the same light as this one. But so I still feel like I had so much fun watching this, and I didn't think I would when it was first reviewed to. I was like, I don't want to watch a match that's 40 years old, and I did. I'm like, I loved it. So my rationale is I would put this. Actually, I'll put it right behind Edge and Mick Foley. I'll put it number 19. I'll put it right above Juice and Thunder Liger and the Great Muta. I'll put it right above that and right below Edge and Mick Foley.
So I like that you pointed out the range of matches 15 through 17, because that's a really good place to start when you think about comparing this match. Those are wrestling clinics, like you said. These are matches that are from true wrestlers that know what they're doing in the ring. You have people like Kurt Angle that are amateur wrestlers, and both Rocco and Marty Jones are both amateur wrestlers. I think that's a pretty good place to start comparing. I agree that it would go underneath maybe the Kurt Angle versus Undertaker match, just as far as how much was going on at the time and what stage they were on. I would actually put this match below Edge and Mick Foley.
Okay.
And I would put it even further below Thunder and Muta.
Okay, you put it at
because
number 19.
Of, I mean,
Number
you look
20,
at
sorry.
you look at Thunder and Muta because that was a huge moment, one of the biggest moments in professional wrestling history.
That's a good point.
And that match was so unique; it was like watching a horror movie.
It was a horror movie.
And I don't know. And these guys had a series of matches that, while were at a very high level, I don't know if they've done anything as groundbreaking as what happened there.
That's a fair point.
And so if I'm doing the crawl back down, then that would put it right by Royal Rumble, which is currently at number 20.
So you make this would be at number 20, or
The 1992 Royal Rumble was iconic.
nobody does a top rope drop kick though.
No one does a top rope drop kick, but these guys don't send chills in my arms like Ric Flair does with a tear in my eye. So for me,
him
this
saying
one,
you're going to pay in blood doesn't give you goosebumps.
I did my crawl down to 21, and I do think it's going to go for me over Mike Awesome and Masato Tanaka. So I would put it at 21, right below the 1992 Royal Rumble.
How fitting you put it at 21, because this match is 42 years old, and 21 plus 21 is 42. The numbers don't lie, Landon.
It continues. The numbers don't lie.
And that sacrifice, they spelled disaster for you, Smoke Joe.
And listen, the Royal Rumble match is all about the numbers as well.
Yes, I was waiting for somebody.
Yeah. Okay, so for me, this is really tough for me actually, because I really like this match. I think it's way ahead of its time, and I do think that the Rocco Jones rivalry is noteworthy in British wrestling history. So I do think there is something to say about sort of the impact that it has in its time period because of what it was. I made the comparison earlier in the episode to Magnum TA and Tully Blanchard.
Okay.
And the reality is that I would watch this match 100 times before I'd watch TA and Blanchard
It's so much more fun. About the same length, too.
So that's my gut. I mean, it was like, okay, we'll make it 11 over TA and Ibushi. I'm sorry, TA and Ibushi. TA and Blanchard.
I would watch that match.
Yeah. Sorry, not
TA and Ibushi? Yes, please.
But yeah, so but if I do the crawl as well, I do sort of find myself considering it 13, right above Charlotte, Sasha, Becky, or 15, right above Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit. But I think ultimately, because of what it is, it probably does fall below Angle and Benoit. I don't know. I actually kind of like this match at 16.
Really?
Between Angle, Benoit, and Jericho and Michaels.
I thought about that one, too.
I think it's just, I love the pace a lot. The thing about this match is that it is different than anything else we have on here. And we can say that it's two amateur wrestlers and that's a good wrestling classic, and it is. That's absolutely true. But it is wholly different than the other ones.
Very, very different.
And so it makes it a very difficult match to rank.
It is. It's a tough one to rank.
I mean, because I could say, 1978, the best thing we get is an arm drag, 30. Or I could say it's a classic. It's almost flawless. It's a different pace. We don't see anything like this anymore.
No, we
Number
don't.
one.
We really, really don't.
So where do I fall in between that? Right, and that's what makes it so difficult. If you listen, I want to know what you guys think as well. If you guys have an idea as far as, you guys listening, as far as where you think a match like this ranks. First of all, if you haven't seen this match,
watch it.
Run, don't walk. Run to your phone that you have in your hand.
Yeah,
and
if you can watch it on YouTube,
and
watch it there.
It's a quick watch.
If you can find it on like Daily Motion or anything other where you can watch it in its full length and not have to watch it in 3 pieces, do it because you will not be disappointed.
Now, I was very non-committal about that, so I will now commit, but with the understanding that I'm very open to debate. With at 16, below Angle Benoit and above Jericho Michaels.
So you have it at 16, I have it at 21, and Paul had it at 19. I'm actually standing firm this go around at my 21. I really feel like that feels right to me, and I know in our earlier episodes we've done this where we've all kind of felt really firm about our spot, and we've found a compromise whenever we three have landed somewhere separately. Maybe we look somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
I mean, somewhere in the middle would be like Kurt Angle and The Undertaker, and they're similar, but like, I don't know.
Well, when I think about Edge and Foley, it's hard for me to compare. They're apples and oranges.
It really is.
Man,
You're right.
They're so
You're right.
different. They're so different. So how do you rank 2 matches that are so different? On rewatchability?
Yeah.
On moments?
I feel like-
on
Well,
impact?
I feel like if you go rewatchability, then like Edge McFoley will almost always top that.
Yeah, it depends on what you want.
Yeah, it depends on how I feel that day, honestly.
Right.
Do I want to
that's
see
the
a
tough
classic,
thing.
or do I want to see a man get speared through a flaming table?
So I don't think rewatchability will work in this in particular case when we're looking at Edge and McFoley versus these two guys in this time in wrestling. I think that would be apples to oranges.
True.
Let's look at Edge and McFoley versus Rollerball Rocco and Marty Jones, comparing it by impact on the business as a whole. I would argue that the British wrestling scene was fundamentally changed.
Oh, absolutely.
By this rivalry.
I think so. I think it really, because the British wrestling scene before this was mostly like Giant Haystacks and Big Daddy, these two big behemoths like rolling around the ground. It wasn't this.
And the Edge versus McFoley, while an amazing moment,
Very, very exciting moment. But
we've never had a hardcore match on that kind of level and in a WWE ring since then.
Yeah.
So I can't say that it fundamentally changed much.
It almost feels like the last parting shot of an era
yeah,
in some ways.
that was the actual end of an era, unlike the WrestleMania 28, which, by the way, 4 out of 10 at best.
He did say that.
He did say that. I think he doesn't like Triple H.
What?
So if we're looking for a compromise and that's where we're thinking about putting it, then I would put it at 18.
Are you okay with 18?
That was my original call.
You're always going to say that, Paul.
No. I said 18. I said, oh, you know what? Actually, let's do 19 because I was like, oh.
I will sleep at night.
Yeah.
I'm very interested to see what everybody else
Oh
is
yeah,
gonna say.
tweet at us. Tell us we're full of shit.
At Last Match Cast, for sure. But yeah, let's go 18
Call
for
us.
now.
Call us bad names on the internet so we can get you kicked off Twitter. Whatever you got to do.
Yeah, that's if you know us, that's the business we're in. Is kicking you off
yeah.
of Twitter.
Yeah, because we've totally reported. I don't think we've reported a single person. Granted, no one's been a dick to us.
It's been fine.
Like, I mean, podcast it, man. We love you, but like, he's never like been a dick to us. So
there you go. It's going at 18. I feel okay about it.
I do too, actually.
This was so much fun. Paul, was it worth it, you think?
Oh yeah.
I think so too. Lainey, do you think this was worth the time?
Worth the time? Are you kidding
Yeah,
me?
I know. It's so
And like the second because I know we talked about Black Tiger, the minute you mentioned, Black Tiger Mask, and I immediately wrote in my notebook next match and held it up to both of you. Like, we're doing that. We have something else in the pipe first, but I think at some point we're definitely going to have to revisit. Definitely visit Rollerball Rocco. If we can find other matches of these two that are highly regarded, I definitely think we should at least consider them. But man, this was a breath of fresh air.
The Twitter poll went off really well. It looks like our match number 31 is going to be none other than Dean Malenko versus Rey Mysterio from Halloween Havoc.
Yeah.
That's gonna be good.
18 years after this contest that we talked about today. So it's been really fun sort of traveling back in time because, gosh, they deserve it. These matches deserve this time. And
18 years after this match and 19 years before we started the show.
That's going to be another wrestling clinic.
Oh, yeah. It's Dean Malenko.
We've been on a roll with these wrestling clips. This
I
has been
know,
really,
right?
really fun. I've liked it a whole lot. So there you go. Episode of WrestleMania 30.
WrestleMania 30.
Episode 30.
We'll get there.
Yeah,
On our Patreon exclusive
Last Mania Standing. We
Cheap plug.
had so much fun with this one. We hope you guys had fun with it as well. If you have any other British wrestling classics that you really love, send them our way.
Send them. I
because
want to
we are
watch them.
officially super open to these things. And if you have any other match suggestions, we would love to hear those as well. You can find us Facebook, Twitter @LastMatchCast. You can always email us at lastmatchstanding@gmail.com. And by all means, feel free to review us and rate us and share us wherever you listen to your podcast because we appreciate you guys spending your time with us.
Tell a friend. Tell two friends.
I like to give out Monopoly money to people that listen to this show.
I would too. We're going to put our faces on them, though.
Oh, for sure. Just Paul's face.
Oh, he's got a brilliant idea for a spin-off series, but I'm going to say it off mic in case it's terrible.
If you want Paul to do your voicemail as Ian Bradley, let us know because that's a thing that we do as well.
At Paul Tiazazin on Twitter, a.k.a. Paul E.
There you go. Until next time, we don't know where we'll be, but we'll know that we'll be covering one of the 100 greatest wrestling matches of all time. Until then, I'm Spencer.
I'm Paul.
And I'm Landon.
And this is
Last Match Standing.